Peace and greetings, and we are back. And thank God we are back because, as y'all already know, when it comes to E-Toy Instant Experience, it takes a lot just for us just to get to the seat. And I know why, because we are going to bring some powerful work today. And please, y'all know how it is with my internet. I'm by the airport. So I always got my signal was always janky. My neighbor next door is in labor as we speak. So you may hear her yelling every now and again. I think they done called the ambulance. I hear people coming in outside of their door. Excuse me. Excuse me. You hear my birds chirping in the back. Anyone that knows, they know that I'm trying to get over this fear. So I decided to bring birds into my house. I'm trying to face all my fears. And of course, the infamous Oreo. He's been on punishment today because he's been being bad. So he's in his cage. So you may hear him say a word or two. So I just want to say, I had to throw those disclaimers out before I get to the other disclaimers. Please be patient with me. And I know all of these challenges is coming because this conversation here is going to touch some nerves and it's going to enlighten some people and it's going to awaken some people and also going to uplift some people. So I just want to say thank you for your patience. So before we get right into it, I already blessed the floor. I had to because it was just crazy. Everyone that's on this get on every guest that's here today, including me, we had trouble getting on this show today. That's why we started a little late. But guess what? What did I always say? I don't build anything around perfection no more. Here, this is real, it's live, this is how life is. Everybody make mistakes, everybody go through their ups and downs. So this is what it is. So before we get right into it, we gotta say a prayer. I give thanks to the Most High. Most High, please bless this podcast. Mefedafun to my Agun, Mefedafun to my Ori, Mefedafun to my assigned guys and my spirits. Please bless this podcast. Please bless me and my guests. Please give me the words to say out my mouth. Please let it be clear and concise. Please let whatever words that flow through me, speak through me, let it resonate with your children. Those who have an ear, let them hear. I give thanks, Ashe. I just want to be straightforward and straight to the point because we already started about 10 minutes late. So today we have on, of course, my mentor who is pretty famous. That's why I have him on a flyer as the co-host because this is his sixth show this episode. So he's no longer a guest. When he's on, he is my co-host. Okay. He's been my mentor for at least 15 years. He's been in my life, as a male figure. We all know who he is. He's so respectable. He's so humble. I will let him finish introducing himself. He don't like me to talk about him and give him his accolades for some reason, but he needs his flowers because he is here. He is here and he is doing the work. He is uplifting and he's doing things in around this United States. Okay, moving forward, we have a brother who is coming on. His name is Chief Trayon El-Dey. He's bringing a conversation with your nationality and your status of correction. He is going to enlighten a lot of people. I have been trying to reach this brother for at least 10 years. Uh-oh. I wish her luck. I have been trying to reach this brother for at least 10 years. But I guess it wasn't the right time. It just so happens that I needed help with something, and I called my brother Kev, who has been on the show a couple of times. And he plugged me in, and the conversation went from him being a connect to him being on my podcast today, and him going to be enlightening us about how changing our status, about paying taxes and not paying tax, about how we are a bond. So I'm gonna let him get more in depth in that. I don't want to mess anything up. He knows the correct terminology. I am still learning. When we talk, because we always talk to my guests before the show. I've taken my notes, so I'm just here as a student. I'm here to learn. My mentor and Chief Trayon El-Dey has already all the knowledge on this subject. So I'm just going to get right to it. First, let me bring in my mentor, El-Hajj Saladin.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
Peace and
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Bismillah
Yes.
ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Well, I'm going to introduce myself. I already introduced myself. I'm El-Hajj Saladin, and we always open up in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. I think you're going to bring on the other guest, introduce himself, or is he is he available?
Sure. We can bring him.
Okay.
We can bring him on.
Yeah.
So we're going to bring our guest in, Chief Trayon El-Dey. Peace, brother.
Peace and love. How are you? How's everybody?
Good. 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 Good.
I'm all right. Everybody is great. Glad we were all able to be here because it was a challenge.
Yes, 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 yes. It's
Yeah,
been a
yes.
challenge.
I hope that the viewing audience be patient with us because with technology, it's not perfect, particularly when you dispensing truth. So let's be a little patient with each other. Uh,
You want to know what I also realized when I advertise certain information, it depends on how many hits I get. You
okay,
know,
okay,
when they got something, yeah, when they got excuse me, when they got something to do with pain and loss and trauma. Oh, it's a whole bunch of hits. The algorithm feeds off of that. But when there's
yes.
something about something powerful like this, when we talking about the government, oh no. Everything always goes so sour. The algorithm is real.
Well,
The
that's why.
algorithm is real.
Well,
So
that's
please,
why. Yeah, go ahead.
mhm.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
go ahead. I'm
No.
sorry. No.
Yep. You got a
Yep.
feedback, but
You got a
that's why
feedback,
we
but
need our
that's
own
why we need our
platforms,
own platforms.
so we
Yeah, I
don't
definitely
have.
hear
So we don't
feedback.
definitely have feedback.
Yeah, I have feedback too.
Yeah, I have feedback too.
So Brother Trayon, do you
So
still
Brother
have that
Trayon, do you still
other
have that
device
other
connected? Can
device
you please put
connected?
that?
Can you please put that? The hell?
Yeah, because I hear this audio but no
Yeah,
video.
that you have two
Yeah, I don't.
devices connected. I see two of you up here. You have to disconnect one so that we won't have a feedback.
Okay, that's what it is. Let me try to take care of that technical.
See, because on the stage you're not here, but in the backstage I see you. So the
So
one where
the
you
one where you on,
yeah.
yeah.
So well, let's just keep
Yeah,
So
moving
yeah.
well, let's
forward.
just
Okay,
keep
yeah,
moving
yeah,
forward. Okay, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I muted him, so it
Okay,
shouldn't be no feedback.
okay, okay. Yeah, because it was some feedback. Yeah. Well, hopefully he'll rectify the situation, and because what's going to be discussed requires a lot of patience and it requires a lot of reading on our part. I can't speak for the brother what he's going to discuss, but I do know that when you talk about um, sovereignty, independence, freedom, not just mere words, but documentation that the federal government will recognize you as, or we as sovereign people, as an independent people. So yeah, it's very detailed, and it requires of us reading a lot of well, not a lot of books, but books that deal with that information. And oh, he's on now. Okay, so
All right,
uh,
he's back.
okay,
See
so we'll
this.
let him bring him on, and then we'll get.
Am
Okay.
I clear now? Am I just with one, or am I still two?
You no, you're with one. This is why we do sound check in the beginning to get all these kinks out. But it's okay because we this is what people need to see what we go through but so that we could get started and get them, give them the
Thousand
information. It's all
apologies.
right. We were gonna work right on through it. It's all right. Go ahead, brother. Introduce yourself.
My name is Chief Trayon El-Dey. I am the chief of the Virginia Norfolk, Virginia Territory. My blood lineage runs a little deep. I'm an American Indian. I'm indigenous to the land. I'm an American Indian. I was given the task of Virginia Territory by one of my chief commanders, Prince Chief Yahshua. His bloodline runs deep too. He's also Washita as well. His family has lineage and ties to Noble Drew Ali as well as Prince Tierra. So basically, I wasn't just given this title. This was invoked on me through blood. So this is a blood title that I have that was not just given to me.
Ashe. It's funny because me and El-Hajj Saladin spoke earlier, and he spoke of Noble Jew Ali. So it's
Hmm.
funny that you mentioned that, and I see El-Hajj taking his notes. So tell us about knowing your status, as far as nationality, knowing your nationality, and correction status, and you know how we was chopping it up. I need you to give it to the people just like that.
I say Hotep. Basically, we're a state, we're a country of nationless people. We don't have a home because our colonizers told us we don't have a home. We're everything that they tell us that we are, but our actual selves. Everybody in the world knows who we are but us. Believe it or not, we cause a lot of conflicts in the world because people know who we are and we're not claiming it. So in token, they're claiming they're taking the status of some of the original people, the Sun people, the Asiatic people, and a lot of that stuff is blowing up in their face. Um, if you notice your history, we've been black, we've been African American, we've been color. They're doing this for a reason because they don't want you to know who you are. We're on colonized land right now. We've been conquered. My people, I can only speak for myself. Some people take on the misnomer, which is a misnomer, meaning that it's not real, of black, which is not a nationality, it's a status in this country. It's a dormant
Mm.
status in this country. White is a status in this country. You can be white. It's just a status. It's not a nationality. Because we don't call a Chinese man. We don't say he's yellow. So we don't like to put a color on a subject or an individual. Um, Back to what I was saying about nationality. My people's American Indian fought the longest war in history. We fought over 300 years. If you know your history, this land has been trying to be conquered by many invaders. French and Indian War, American Indian War, British, um, French Indian War. These are all the wars that our people fought from these invaders, and we fought the longest war in history, and we're still fighting. Um, we fought the Caucasians, we fought the Mexicans, we fought the British, as I just said. Um, and by doing that, we also fought the natives on this land, and a lot of people get the native Indians mixed up with the American Indian, which are two different people. Native Indians are California, you're native to California, you're native to California.
Okay, he or maybe he'll come back on. Um, because he was getting into some detail that only he
Yeah, he was getting into some detail.
can right, that only he could speak for. I don't want to try to attach anything that he was discussing, but basically he was dealing with settler colonialism based upon this continent, where uh, various ethnic groups came to this country and set up this country, uh, different groups. As he said, the French,
Mhm.
British, uh, the Dutch, um,
Mhm.
and various other nationalities came to this country and
Mhm.
displaced a group of people who were indigenous to this land. And we may call them Indians, but they have names and they have
Right.
traditions that go back centuries. And as I said
Mhm.
before, I think on one of the podcasts, I said, you know, when in reference to a son watching westerns uh, on Sunday, because at one time it was very, very. It's not that popular anymore. Oh, he's back on. Okay, so yeah, but it's not. But let me
Can you hear
finish what I was
me?
going to say.
Brother El-Dey. Yes. Well, hold on one second. Before you
I'm
come
here.
back
Can you
on,
hear me?
just get into
Yeah,
some more
we can hear
light.
Hmm.
you.
I
Yeah,
can hear
I
you.
can hear you.
Get into
I can
some
hear
more
you.
light. Get into some more light so we can see your face.
Yeah. So
You need more light from me?
yeah, she need more light. She needs
Yes.
more. Yeah, 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 yeah.
There you go.
You need more lighting from me? Okay,
That's a
all
little
right,
better.
all right.
Wherever you
Okay.
was at before, I don't know. I saw a white wall or something. It was a lot of light. We need the light to shine on you because you
Okay.
bringing some good information. And if you pick a spot in your home where the information where you're gonna have a good connection at.
Right, that's where, yeah, I'm kind of on the road traveling. So I try to get into the lounge area. Can you hear me a little bit better?
Gotcha. Yeah.
Okay. Basically, what I'm expounding on, black and white, like I was saying, is just a status. Anybody can be white, anybody can be black, but they automatically give you a status when the immigrants or anybody or brown skin complexion, they get a status of white. Anything that's coming in that's dark skinned like myself gets a status of black. That's just the status that they give you, but that can always be changed. Um, and everybody's claiming black. As I explained to you earlier, if anybody could look in the definition and look up black, it means anything negative, dishonest, it's just anything that's not good. And if you look up the status of white, it means the opposite of black, of everything that's pure, innocent, sacred, and that's the status. A lot of things in this country is terminology. It's a lot of wordplay. Like if you look up
He went out again, right? Um, can he
Yeah.
can we hear his audio, or he just completely he's
Is completely out. Yeah, brother
okay.
Dave, you can hear us. You got to get a better connection. El-Hajj Saladin, you want to tap into
Yeah, yeah,
status
yeah. It's
and
hard to,
we
but
don't.
yeah,
I
yeah,
know
I get.
he was coming
Yeah,
from
I
a
get where
different
he's coming from.
perspective,
I
but
get, yeah, I
you
get where
know,
he's coming from. And there's a lot of people who are listening to this uh, uh, podcast. Please be patient. But what I'm just going to try to attach to what he said, which many of you out here know about colors and what they really mean. Black has always been meant something suspicious, something dull, something untrustworthy. That's what he was saying. And if you notice that most commercials, they usually depict the villain with black. Even when they do modern commercials, usually the person is wearing some kind of black attire, whether it's a black mask, black hat, black clothing. It's always that color is referencing something sinister and something untrustworthy, like Brother Day has said. And of course, white, is mentioned something like something angelic, something pure. But white and black is a social construct. It doesn't define who we are. And we went through various
mm-hmm.
in America, the social structure, we went from uh, Negroes, colored, then we went to black. Then we went from black to African American. And some people take exception with the term African American. I believe it was Jesse Jackson who coined that phrase, African American. And many people in America who were born in America as black people or as whatever they want to be called say, well, I'm not from Africa. I have no roots in Africa. Where am I from Africa? Which is very hard because we were torn away. So even when it comes to our identity, it becomes very, very complex. But we know we're not colored people. We know we're not niggers. Okay, we know we're not Negroes because that word, that word Negro means it comes from the NCRO root, which is Latin, which means something dead, something lifeless. That's when you have the word necromancy. That
Mm.
word or NEKRO. It means something dead, something lifeless. So when the social structure, when white America called us Negroes, we many of us didn't understand the definition of what they were called. We thought that negra or negro meant black. No, it means something dead, something lifeless. So we went from Negro, colored, black to African American. And so we take on these different labels, but is that who we really are? Well, many scholars say that we came from the mother continent, Kemet, okay, the birthplace of all
Mhm.
humanity. So now there's many books that are written today that say all of our DNA, whether they're Caucasians, wherever they are on this planet, their DNA, their roots come from the continent, Africa or Kemet. The scholars say that every human being walking this planet has the X chromosome, and the X chromosome is the female chromosome. And so when people read the Bible, Genesis, it says that Eve is the mother of all living. So when people read that, they think of just some woman in the garden and the serpent and Adam. That all these are things that have meaning. But what is key, it says that Eve is the mother of all living human beings on this planet. And many anthropologists and geneticists are in agreement. And the odd thing, well, not odd, when you look at the word, the book of the Bible, I know this is not a Bible study course, but when you look at the word Genesis, if you remove the SIS at the end of Genesis, you have gene. Gene is the DNA, the life beginning of all humanity. And so we're not technically colored or Negro. We are the original people of this planet. We even have adopted this word in America, the social structure, calling us minorities. Well, when you look at that word minority, mean minor. And what is a minor? Someone that's not of adult age. All of us, before we
Mm.
reached adult age, we were called what? Minors. And we were given certain uh, allowances when we misbehave. Well, he's a minor. But when he becomes an adult, we're going to hold him more accountable legally. But we have adopted it
Mhm.
domestically. We have accepted the term, we are the minorities. No, we are the global majority. There's more people on this planet that have melanin than people who don't. Minister Malcolm said, he told us this is what we need to study. He said this 50 years ago. He said, how did we let the minority, meaning the Caucasian race from Europe, govern and control the majority of this planet? Because wherever you go on the 7 continents of this planet, there are people of color. Whether you go to Australia, whether you go to North America, South America, the continent of Africa, Arabia, even at one time, China was inhabited by people of color. So the whole globe are people of color. It is only the minority who have gained control of the dominant group. And how did they do it? By divide and conquer. I think he came back on. I don't know if he can get him back on. But this is very important. So in 2024, it's a sad fact that we still are trying to read who we are as a people. Well, there were many leaders that came among us and was trying to tell us who we were, that we are the original people of this planet. Does that make us better than Caucasians, that we should look down on them? No. The facts are the facts. They know that. They know that we are the global majority. Some are not comfortable with that. And this is why in America today, a couple of years ago, maybe 10 to 20 years ago, maybe longer than that, Time Magazine did a spread. Time Magazine said that I think it was 2023, that America, the continent of America, would no longer be Anglo-Saxon. They call it the browning of America. Well, we're here now. We're in 2024. And there's some people who are not happy that perhaps that America would no longer be Anglo-Saxon. They're not comfortable with that. And so this is why we have, look, let me say this before we bring Brother Day on. Here we have a president of the United States that his own party is divided whether or not he even should run. But technically, under the Constitution and how they run politics, usually the vice president assumes that office based upon an election. But what's the problem? One, she's a person of color and she's a female. Because I think if she was Hillary, we wouldn't be having this discussion. So let me back up a little bit before I veer off into other stuff. But it's very important that we understand settler colonialism. That's what Brother Day was talking. Settler colonialism. They came and they took over this land and they divided us one against the other using terms that trigger certain responses in certain people, black and white. So let me back up a little bit because I don't want to dominate the conversation and let Brother Chief El-Dey speak. Can you hear us, brother?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. You go ahead, brother.
And a lot of
Brother
things
Day,
you
I want
said
you to
are.
get into. I want. Hold on, Brother Day. I want you to get into what you was teaching me, because being that we was going, because I don't want you to go out and then we miss it. So let's just
I
jump
got.
right into that information.
Yes,
I
yes.
got you. I just want to say one thing about what the brother was saying.
Sure,
The
sure.
etymology, the origin of the word is very important that you speak, because the words that he was
Mm.
saying, he could mean it in a set period of time, and it'll mean one thing, and somebody else might take that same word and use it in a different period, and it might mean something different. Meaning the word, like he's saying, nigger, that means a lot of things if you do the etymology on the word. And the etymology on the word, it means a lot. Where it came from and what it means, and what it means to this day. But back to the topic of nationality, meaning we're a bunch of stateless people. We're in our own country, but we're stateless. We don't have a home. We're the only people in this country that can't get deported because we don't have nowhere to go. And there are Africans on this land, and I can't speak for everybody and say you're this and you're not that. But what I can attest to is over 95% of us was already here when Columbus came. A lot of things was told in reverse. I don't know if everybody paid attention to what Putin was talking about when he released the Tartarian maps and the Tartarian artifacts, etc., etc. Basically, what he did was he opened the safe, and it showed a lot of black artifacts and relics and stuff, stating that the Asiatic people are the original people, and that Jesus was black. So he threw a lot of people up in arms about that. A lot of people couldn't accept the fact. I don't want to give the subject like the brother said, but nationality is the key of the day, because claiming that you're black or claiming
Before
that you're
you before you
African.
continue, brother, before you continue, brother, I'm sorry to cut you off because I want to keep the conversation going because we already 32 minutes into it. I'm traffic control. We've been having a whole lot of issues. I just want to keep it going because I want to get to the meat and the potatoes. And the information you bring it is the meat and the potatoes. The straw man. What is the straw man? I got my questions ready. I got about
That's what I
10.
want.
What is the
The,
straw
the,
man
the,
and
the,
commerce?
str- the straw
Here
man
we
is
go.
the fictitious, the imaginary, the pretend you. And then you have your natural human you. So now everybody gets the corporation and the country confused. United States is the corporation. America is the country. Now, the corporation, what does the corporation do? A corporation generates money. So basically, when the colonizers came over here, the pilgrims, so they say, we gave them, the American Indians, we gave them permission to do commerce on the land, meaning do business. So the term, you give somebody an inch, they take a mile, and that's exactly what they did. We gave them an inch to do commerce. They broke over 500 treaties with us. And what this brother was saying about what they did was conquering the divide. That's what they did. They had everybody fighting us, because there was hundreds of thousands of tribes in ancient America. So they had the natives fighting us, the British fighting us, the Mexican. They had everybody fighting us on our land. But back to the straw man. If you pay attention, um, the United States corporation still pays money to the crown. The crown owns the colonizers that's here. They having a long standing agreement. So everything that this corporation does is sends money to the crown, and that's one of the reasons how they're able to operate the way they operate. On this, there's two functioning governments that can operate on this land. That's the American Indian, which is he operates on natural law, common law, and the Constitution. And then you got colorable law, which everybody else goes by, meaning the citizens. If you're a citizen, you're a citizen of a corporation. You're an artificial person. If you look at your birth certificate, your parents sold you into slavery unknowingly. You was in your mother's womb. That's considered a vessel. You was considered to be on water. And the law that they have right now that you go to court for traffic tickets, criminal tickets, whatever, that's amnesty law. That's sea, that's land for the water, and we're on land. So obviously that they're not, they're out of order with that. They're not operating legally. It's illegal what they're doing. So what this straw man is, if you look at your birth certificate and your social security card, can you hear me? Can you see me?
I hear you. I hear you loud and clear, and I see you.
Okay,
I
because
hear
I
you,
can't.
and
We
I
I
can
see
can't.
hear
you.
you. You got the stage right now.
You got the stage right
Oh,
now, right?
You got the
peace and
stage.
love, peace and love, peace and love. So your parents sold you in to slavery unknowing. If you check your birth certificate and if you look at your social security card, everything is in all caps. That's just straw man. But in real life, you're a human personal person. That's not how you sign your name. You sign your name uppercase, lowercase. So when you go to court, you're considered a corporation, and you're stuck in a corporation. This is how they get money. This is how their money is backed by your labor. It's not backed by gold. It's not backed by anything. It's backed by your labor, and this is why they're able to print money whenever they want. So my thing is, how you able to print as much money as you want, and we're paying taxes on that. The math ain't math, and I don't want to get off topic with that, but they're using corporation money. Now, Bobby, you being a corporation, the laws is not the law. What you're pleading guilty to, what you're scared of, is section codes. ordinances and codes. It's portrayed and it's pushed off as law, but it's not law. They're just codes. Constitution, that's law. Common law, that's law. If you get a traffic ticket or if you get arrested, you didn't violate the law. You violated a section code. You violated an ordinance. You violated a statute because you're a corporation. African American and black is a misnomer. It's property. The corporation owns you because you're property. That's exactly what that is, property, because you don't know who you are. You're not claiming you're not claiming a nationality. You're saying you're African American. You're claiming a continent or a landmass. When you have a European that comes over here and he says he's European American, we can identify back to where he's from. France, England, Switzerland. He can go back home. They can go back home. Now, when when an Asian comes over here and he says he's Asian American, we can trace them. We can put them back in the Asian continent. Japan, China, Indonesia, Taiwan, etc., etc. They have a home to go back to. Now, when you say you're African American, you're claiming a continent. There's 54 countries in that continent, and you're not claiming none of that. You're not claiming Sierra Leone, South Africa, Cape Vincent, Nigerian, Ghana. You need to claim something, and you're not claiming nothing. Now, if something was to happen today or tomorrow, and they put you behind them fences, they're going to send Chinese people back to China, Japanese back to Japan. Where are you going? You have nowhere to go. And you don't know who you are, so they're going to keep doing what they want to do to you because you don't have a nationality. You need to claim something. The criminal international courts already found this corporation guilty of the treatment of the original people and the melanated people on this land, but there's nobody to enforce it. Who's going to step to the United States and say, "Oh, you wrong, give the people back their land"? There's nobody brave enough to do that. So here we are, and we
So
think,
let me. So I just
come
want
with
to
it.
keep it going, brother. Sorry to interrupt. Just want to keep it going. I just want to.
Mhm.
I just want to touch on something that you said. Um, you said something about if you get a ticket. I want you to touch on how when you told me if you get a ticket, it's a $50,000 bond that they get off of you. These are the because
So,
these are the things that people don't know.
right.
And these are the things that people want to hear.
So what they don't understand is, like I said, you're considered chattel property, 14th Amendment slaves, and you're under the corporation. You're a fictitious character, and you're playing along with the script that since you're not original to the land, you're not on your birthright. They're giving you a privilege. You need permission to do everything. If you want a driver's license, you need their permission. You need to get a driver's license. If you want to go fishing, you need a fishing license. If you want to go hunting, you need a hunting license. If you want to get married, you need a marriage license. It's a corporation. This is what they do. They generate money. The police don't enforce law. They enforce policy, not law. They enforce policy. And what I mean by policy is you're all caps, you're a straw man. Now, by you not knowing who you are, everything that you do becomes a bond. If they give you a speeding ticket, a ticket with no license, that becomes a bond. That bond is worth $2 to $5 million per ticket. And if you notice a cop always saying, or you notice that
So
they have a
ex- so
they have a
so
call.
explain. Right.
Can you repeat?
So
Say
just
that again?
explain what that bond is. Yeah, explain what that bond is exactly. Who does the money go to?
The money goes back to England. The money goes back to the crown. When you say you're paying the crown, that means you're paying Britain. That means you're paying these corporations. That means you're paying these dirty politicians because they're the ones that's running the corporation. Now, anything you sign becomes a
Mm.
bond. The birth certificate, your social security is worth millions of dollars. They're constantly selling your information on the stock market. They pass it around just like a third party collection agency. It's illegal. It's illegal for a third party agency to collect money. Now, what you need to do is you need to activate your straw man and take control of your straw man. So it's not in the hand of the corporation. See, this is where our people lack the knowledge to get
So
to
so
remove
ho-
themselves with a corp.
so how can right? So I was getting ready to get into that. So how can people activate their straw man?
Basically, what you want to do is you want to take yourself out of the corporation completely. You want to put them on notice and let them know that you're a human being and you're taking control of your straw man, and they're no longer going to make money off of you. So when you take control of your straw man, like I took control of my straw man, I don't have a driver's license. I don't need a driver's license. I'm indigenous to the land. I don't have a driver's license. I don't pay taxes. I'm considered an American national. You can't even give me a traffic ticket. The only way you can pretty much
You said they
penalize
can't
me
even give you
or
a
do
traffic
anything to
ticket.
me is if I injure or hurt somebody.
Mm.
Hello?
Yeah,
So
I hear
just to
you.
be
I
clear,
yeah.
you said that you don't have a driver license of your traffic ticket. We can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me?
Did you hear
Okay,
me?
I can hear you. So this status is not
Did you hear
just
what
for
I said,
me. This
brother? I said
I didn't.
just to be clear, okay, just to be clear, because I want the audience to make sure they get this, because this is, everybody's not going to be able to receive this information.
Hmm.
And I don't think people are resonating with this. I want people to understand, and I've been knew about this for quite some time.
uh, yeah.
Before I even heard about you 10 years ago, Brother El-Dey, I knew about having a straw man. I knew about the corporation, how everybody that has a birth certificate in this country is an actual corporation. We are actual entity, and we can activate with our birth certificate. It's a little one cent stamp, but I want everybody to to have it clear that he activated his straw man, Brother El-Dey, and he removed himself totally from the corporation. This is what you call freedom right here.
I
This
gave
is
them
what you call
everything
when you're
back.
not a
You got to give them everything back. You don't want to be under them no way,
right.
shape, or form. You want to be under who you want to be. You want to operate under natural law. But what you want to do first, you want to find out who you are, whether you're African, whether you're American, Indian, whatever you got to do. You got to claim it, and you got to put that on notice and put them on notice that you know who you are and you're claiming who you are. So you got to give everything back to them. You got to give them back they birth certificate. You have to authenticate your birth certificate. You send that to the Secretary of State um in your state. You send it to them, and you want to because there's three types of birth certificates. You got a certificate, you got your short birth certificate, you got a live birth certificate, and you got a dead birth certificate. A lot of people don't know this, but you have all of those, and this is how they getting money off you because you don't know. Even when you apply for a credit card, that's worth $50,000 automatically. You could get denied for applying, excuse me, for a bank loan. If you get denied for that bank loan, that denial letter that you signed is worth $50,000. You gave them everything. You gave them the social security number. You gave them your name. So you gave them permission to do that. Now, giving them permission to do all of that, you got to pay attention because they use your straw man in many different ways. You got to look when you fill out forms and how they give you back the forms. If your social security number is how you put it on paper with the spaces, that means that's an active account on your straw man. But if you see something come back with your social security number all bunched together, that means that's a closed account. They done got all they can from that part of your straw man. So in
Mm,
activating
mm.
your straw man, and by the way, you can change your social security number 9 times. A lot of people don't know that you can change it 9 times. You can say you was the victim of
Yeah, I
identity
was
theft.
trying to figure out how to change my.
You can change your social security number. You can get a new social security. They can't deny you that. They can't deny you that. You got the highest status on the law, sister. You just got to claim it. You got to let them know that you're not African American. If that's what you're not because you're a misnomer. If you're gonna say you're African, you're gonna say you're from Ghana or wherever you got to claim it. But if you're not claiming it, you're stateless. I mean, you have no backing. If something happens to an Irish person in this country, he can go to the Irish embassy in D.C. And they will protect him. If something was to happen to that man, his country will get involved. You don't have nobody to get involved if you get in trouble, so they can do what they want to do to you. That's why
Mm-hmm.
it's very important for you to claim your nationality and enjoy your birthright and not the privileges that they give you. Because according to the Constitution, which is the highest law on the land, which supersedes the colorable law that you go to in court. Now, all public officials, government and state, gave an oath to the Constitution, and they're supposed to uphold that Constitution. If they don't uphold that Constitution, they created treason. Now, there's a lot going on right now. Supposedly, United Nations troops supposed to come on this land for a lot of different reasons, and one of the reasons, supposedly, allegedly, is because the government that they're operating on is illegal. They don't have the jurisdiction. The contract with the original people is up. Even police officers that are enforcing policies, it's illegal. Policy is not a law, and you need to hold these government officials accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and how you hold them accountable, everybody
So
doesn't
I have
know.
a
All state and government
I have
workers
another
are.
question.
Let's go.
I have another question because I was talking to
Listening.
someone about this earlier, and
Hmm.
they said that to remove the straw man from your back and to claim your nationality does not keep you safe from white supremacy.
That's kind of
Can
true
you
because
respond to that?
that's kind of true, and it reverberates back to what I said. This corporation already been found guilty for cruel and unusual punishment for the indigenous people on this land. But like I said again, who's going to be big enough to say, "Get out of here! What you're doing is wrong." There's nobody here to enforce that. Other countries could come in here legally and enforce it, but who's going to do it? That's like a bully on the playground. He took your, I don't know, candy, money. Who's going to be bold enough to take it from that bully? Nobody. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that ass whooping. So they're going to continue to do what they want to do, like they're doing now. They're giving all this money to everybody else, and they're not taking care of their people at home. So who's stopping them? So you have to stand. You have to
Hmm.
stand up to white supremacy, and there's only one way to do that, and it doesn't necessarily have to be physical. My people was wrote out of history through the major reset in the 20s, which made it African American. Well, down the line, they changed it from Indian. They wrote us out. It was called paper genocide. They wrote us out of history. It took them a long time to do it, but they wrote us out of history. So it's our time to write ourselves back into history and do what we have to do to take our natural place. And the first thing you need to do is claim your straw man. It doesn't. It doesn't.
I have another question. I know, brother Chandler, you want to you want to
No,
jump in,
well, let
brother
me
Chandler? Because
interject.
I
Yeah,
see you keep moving back and forth. You
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because uh, what he's discussing is very complicated.
It
Two,
is.
two, as we say in the Nation of Islam, under the experience of Mr. Muhammad, the lost and found people. What you're talking about is sovereignty. What you're talking about is nationhood. What you're talking about is separating yourself from the government. Some of our people, because there are always exceptions, are not comfortable with that.
Hmm.
Some of us have to do a lot of research. What you discuss, to sum it all up, you're talking about sovereignty. You're talking about nationhood. You're talking about being independent from this corporation, as we call the United States of America. Because there are some books, there are books that say that the president of the United States is the CEO of this
Of the
corporation.
corporation.
Right.
He's the CEO.
But the problem with us, the lost and found people, and I have to give it that title, Lost and Found, requires of us to read a lot of books. We have to get Black's Law, which is coming from Black's Law's Dictionary.
That's the highest. That's the
I,
highest. That's the book for the highest law of the land. They
I,
go. That's what they operate off of.
you know that, I know that. There's lawyers know that. There's Supreme Court justices that know that. There are many people that know that. But the average brother on the street, Pookie, the Pookies on the street,
Oh,
they don't know that. So we have to deal with terms. First of all, we got to clean our people up first. Because there's no way that they can operate on the language that you just said without a thorough knowledge of themselves. They have to know who they are. They have to know their origin in this world. And when they understand that, this is why Minister Malcolm said, God rest his soul, he debated the civil rights community, many civil rights leaders, they had the best of intentions, but they were going after civil rights. And if you remember what Malcolm said on many different speaking
you
engagements,
need
he
human
said we got to
rights.
get
It's not
human
civil
rights
rights.
first.
It's human rights.
Absolutely. He said you got to get human rights first. But many of the civil rights leaders said, no, we got to go after civil rights. He said, no, we have to be considered first as human beings first on the global stage.
And that's where they made the mistake at.
Right, right. Some of it was miscalculation because some of them felt that if we're able to get the civil rights, the human rights is automatic. Well, we just discovered in the last couple of months that the Voting Rights Act have been gutted. There are a lot of laws. First of all, those the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment of the Constitution, these amendments are reconstructive amendments. It
Hmm.
applies to us first, but all other people that came in benefited from the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. But the scholars of the Constitution know that the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment are reconstructed. They were specifically for people of color at that time, or ex or former enslaved people. But what you're saying, brother, is very, very deep. And it requires, first of all, most people in this audience, and yes, there are exceptions, but if E-Toy and myself went with a camera and a microphone, and we asked many people, who is Noble Drew Ali? Many people don't even know who Noble Drew Ali is, but he's one of the pioneers that got it started. He said that we're not colored, we're not Negro. He said that we are the Asiatic people, and that we need to love more instead of hate. I mean, there's a lot of things that Noble Drew Ali taught, but most of the people don't even know who he is. They don't even know who Marcus Garvey is. They don't even know who the Elijah Muhammad is. Many of them don't really know who Malcolm is, other than quoting some of his so-called phrases that he used. But a lot of us, when it comes to sovereignty, independence, being truly independent, many of us have to read and study because some of us think that we can defeat the settler colonialists through some back alley strategy, that we're going to do something in some hallway or some staircase. These people, they thought this thing through. Even bringing us down to the form of three-fifths of a human being. That was thought through by the settler colonialists because they wanted to figure out how to include us in the voting count. And this is where when they deal with the president of the United States, the voting, the electoral college is based upon that. So what Brother Chief has said is, it to some of us is very easy because many of us have studied and read the subject, but a great many of us, that's a huge leap. Driving without a driver's license, or not giving up your social security, and all these things. Some of us, it scares the hell out of many of us to make that kind of leap, much less talking about you're independent and want to
And
be free.
I also want people. I was trying to, because he was going in and out. I
Yes.
was trying to have him literally repeat what he said when he doesn't get any
E-Toy.
tickets. He said they can't give him any tickets, even
Right.
even though he doesn't have any license.
That's he
Go
he
ahead.
he I don't want to speak from him, but I do know, like I said, he's speaking from a person that's sovereign. Almost like, like certain diplomats that come to this country, they have what is called diplomatic immunity. There's certain immunities because they're not considered
Mm,
citizens of this state. Okay, that's why certain diplomats they come here and they get a load of tickets right here in New York City at the UN because they're
Mhm.
sovereign. Most of our people are not even thinking on that level. Oh, yeah, there are exceptions because there are many of our brothers and sisters
Mhm.
who are L's and Bays, who are followers of Noble Drew Ali, and they consider themselves members of the Morris Science Temple of America. They have their own constitution called the Zodiac Constitution. But a lot of us don't know Moors unless we have friends, family members who are Moors. But sometimes we got to crawl before we walk. And we have to first get into the knowledge of who we are, the knowledge of ourselves. And there was something that Mr. Muhammad put on the Muhammad Speaks newspaper when he was alive. Some members still have it that published the old Muhammad Speaks newspaper. But he had two people clasping their hand across the continent. He always wanted us, I'm talking about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, to link up with our brothers and sisters in Africa and Asia. But he knew we had to first, and Malcolm was his chief spokesperson. We had to first have a knowledge of ourselves. Because some of us have false hope that America is going to one day treat us as
Mhm.
equals. But and we also have a problem of seeking white validation. That if they don't say we're free, then we're not free. If they don't say that this is the right religion, then it's not the religion. And so what that brother is discussing is totally severing yourself from America. Some of us, as Minister Malcolm said, I gotta say again, he has some of you Negroes not asking to be a part of a nation. You want to crawl back on the plantation. So, when you're talking about what he's
Mm.
discussing, it requires of us knowing constitutional law, human rights law, get ourselves the Black Law Dictionary is a book, Black Laws Dictionary, understanding how we are to govern and act as an independent people because we still are a dependent people. And that's why I said earlier, they call us minorities. You minorities. We're the global majority. Once we understand that, we can link up with the globe, which is
Mhm.
24,896 miles, approximately 25,000 miles of this globe. Wherever we are on this planet, we should be, because we are citizens of the world. So I don't want to, I'm just trying to add my this part of this discussion because I
Yeah.
understand what he's
That's
discussing
why you
is
here.
very
That's why
weighty.
you here. You add your part.
Yeah, it's very weighty. And I say this to the
Yes.
audience who might be listening. You, inshallah, that means Allah wills, you may have to do a second part because, like I said again, what he's discussing is so simple to those who understand law, because you understand the language. I'm talking about lawyers and those who read books. But it's very complicated with those who
Mhm.
don't read books, who are in a box in their way of thinking. So I know that your platform
Mhm.
deals with other, but like I said again, our problems exist as a people from the neck up. Because some people can't even see
Mhm.
that. But there are people who operate under what he just discussed. There are people who don't pay taxes,
Mhm.
who will right into the car dealership and show their proper documentation and drive off the lot legally without paying any taxes. There are some brothers and sisters, their sisters too, drive their cars without a license. There's some that don't pay taxes on anything. But see, the problem with some of us will get on board with that because it's extra to them, is money. It's about, yeah, oh, wow, if I can do that so I don't have to pay taxes. So when I file my taxes, I can go buy a car, I can go mortgage a house without. See, some of us are doing it for monetary gain. It's not, I'm not going to minimize that. It's a part of that. It's about being who you are, reclaiming your sovereignty, reclaiming who you are as the original people of this planet. But if we join this organization for the sake of, I use the term extra biscuits and some molasses, then we miss the point. Because some people, that's what they're joined for, and that's not what this is about. The Moorish Science Temple, those beautiful brothers and sisters of the Moorish science temple, they paid a price. They are the forerunners of the Nation of Islam. Okay? And the Nation of Islam paid the price. Because Elijah Muhammad, he was subtly trying to get us to think independent. But he first had to get us how to eat right, to think right. If we don't eat right and think right,
Mm,
and we've been under this system of over 400 years, then what that brother's discussing is far-fetched. And it scares the hell out of people. Because they were saying, well, can we do that?
mm-hmm.
So he's back on, and I don't, let him express. But let me back out a little bit and let him say his piece, because you may have some more questions for him.
I have another question. We're gonna be on for a few more minutes because then we gotta close out. But I have another
Yes.
question. Do you have to be a Moor? This is for Brother El-Dey. Do you have to be a Moor to claim your status?
No, no, no. A lot of people, what they don't
Okay.
realize is a lot of people, you got to do your lineage, your genealogy. I'm not going to tell nobody what to claim though, but a lot of people want to know who they really are, and not what you tell them. Like 23 and Me, I don't really agree with that, because if you look at the top of who owns that, is colonizers, is some people that own that. Then they're not going to tell you who you are. Now, when if you look,
What
if
do
you
you
look
think
at what
about
they're saying now,
AfricanAncestry.com?
excuse me.
What do you think about AfricanAncestry.com?
I don't know too much about Ancestry.com. I've been on there before. Hard. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, I
I
can
can
hear
hear
you.
you.
I rather do the genealogy. I rather have the paper trail as opposed to the blood test, because we know what DNA
Okay.
does. DNA just links people to something, or something to you. Meaning, like if your fingerprints or saliva is on a gun, that's what DNA links you to. It's going to be that's saying they go back to Africa. It's going to be hard.
Well, you know, for some people that might satisfy them because there's always money to be made. But like I said earlier, because the brother froze, every human being on this planet origin is from Africa. And even that word Africa, we don't have time to get into that day. But the bottom line is our origin is from that continent. I don't care if you're from Britain or Ireland. All of us are from the mother of civilization, the mother of the beginning of all human life came from that continent. And so, like he was saying, these people are making
You
money
you
now.
you want to respond, Brother El-Dey?
Oh yeah, go ahead, brother. Yeah, he's back on. Go ahead, brother. I know you came frozen. Can you hear us? Yeah, he's still
I
frozen.
can hear
Yeah.
you.
Okay. Okay.
Not
Well, go ahead, brother. Yeah, go ahead.
um. No, I was listening to what you were saying, that
Yeah, yeah. So, Cause
It's
let
on
me
you,
say
Brother
this.
El-Dey.
Oh yeah, go ahead,
uh,
brother Elder.
um I don't know what to say in regards to that. What if I enlighten you on something else? Because they're saying, have you ever heard of the lost continent of Lemuria?
No, no.
Those supposed to be the oldest indigenous people. Like you said, we probably could
Yeah.
have this conversation another time. Everybody migrated from somewhere. The people that's in the African continent, it wasn't just born there. They didn't just pop there. They had to migrate from somewhere. Everybody on this planet, they migrated from somewhere, and they cultivated the land. That is true. That our people, we've been the first in everything. the first Australians, the first Irish, the first Asians. That's very true. We are.
Hmm.
Can I just back up one real quick when you talk about the sovereign? I'm gonna keep it on the
Sure.
eye, and the people that claim indigenous status, we can't be sovereign citizens on our own land. Now, if you're coming from somewhere else and you're doing that and you want to claim the sovereign thing, a lot of people do that. And what happens is with this sovereign thing, like he was saying, brother L,
Yes. Yeah.
a lot of people, what they do is they join these groups and stuff like that, and a lot of these groups is not doing the things that they're saying. Prime example, there's three different, like Muslims, there's Shiites, Kurds, there's three different groups of Muslims. Same goes for Moors. There's different groups of Moors. You got African Moors, you got tribal Moors such as myself, and you got Middle Eastern Moors. Each of them go off of different tenets.
He froze up.
Temple Moors, uh, they they uh, they're claiming that they are descendants from Africa. As far as the tribal Moors, we're claiming that we're indigenous to this land right here. As of date, we are the only Moors on record as being the oldest indigenous people in the planet. We are the only Moors that are recognized by the United Nations, C2231993. That seat has been uprooted from us for various reasons, but I claim Washita. I also claim Cherokee. Washita has 40 bloodlines in this country. Yamasee, Cherokee, the list goes on. Like I said prior to this, it was over thousands of tribes here before these colonizers came, and it only takes three people to make up a tribe. Um, a lot of things was said. Actually, I'm going into history. I really don't want to go into history. But a lot of things was done. A lot of things was said. A lot of the history we have to relearn because a lot of the studies and education we got was a conquered colonization systematic study system, and they wanted you to know what they wanted you to know. And everything they do that pertains to our people is negative. They haven't figured us out yet. That's why they constantly try to biochemical our food, the Tuskegee situation, age. They still haven't figured us out. With the melanated people are the only people that has 100% DNA. Now the Caucasian people, they do not have 100% DNA. They have monkey and they have dog in them. So that's why a lot of people say when you smell a Caucasian, or they smell like a dog, they smell like an animal because they have fur on their skin. And they want our melanin. If you go on the stock market, if you look up gold, gold might be 35, $60 a gram. Our melanin is $563 a gram. So they're still trying to figure us out, kidnapping our kids. They haven't figured this out
Being
yet.
being that
Um,
being that you on the subject of melanin, talk about how the Chinese, or the Japanese, is paying to impregnate women
well,
for
let me
our
first start
melanin.
off what I told you about. Then they're not gonna last. Next year is gonna be really hot. It's called a black sun. It's gonna be even hotter. You got these they're playing with the weather because they're trying to preserve their race and they can't. Last year, the year before, China shot a fake sun up into the atmosphere to try to preserve their race. And what they're doing right now, what the Caucasians is doing right now, they want to intertwine even more now. They want to mingle with us. They want to preserve their race. Japan is paying people that look like me in this country $75,000 to go over there and impregnate their women. This is not a joke. It's for real. They're paying black men 70. I say black for educational purposes so people can understand where I'm at. I meet them where they're at. But they're paying black men $75,000 to impregnate their women. And I didn't believe it. And even when I read it, I didn't believe it until I seen Chinese and Japanese women on my page talking about they want to get to know me a little bit better. I've never seen none of them come on to me the way that they're coming on me. It's really bizarre. And real quick, what this brother was saying with the
Okay.
sovereign citizen thing, the thing with the Moors is, well, the Temple Moors is they you know they're a unit, and they don't have the authority that they say they have in court because they don't put the paperwork that they say they have in court. So instead of going into court with that individual is on his own. So now that individual will be starts out with a nation because he thinks he has a nation of Moors behind him, and when he doesn't, he becomes a sovereign citizen. So he becomes a national person. He doesn't have all them people behind him. So technically, he's by himself. Then he considers himself a sovereign citizen because he doesn't have the nation behind him.
So how do you assist people in this process?
Say that again. Can
How
you
do you
repeat
assist
yourself?
people in this process? If somebody, yes, if someone wanted to take control of their straw man, if someone wanted to have sovereignty within this country, how do
Hmm.
you assist that person?
Well, I assist that person first. I would like to do a genealogy test because if you ask your grandmother, and this goes for a lot of people growing up when they used to say, "Oh, we got good hair," or "We got good eyes." What we used to say, "Oh, I got Indian in me." That's the first thing we should say. We got Indian in me. That's my mother. From as long as I can remember, told me that I was an Indian. I was Cherokee Indian, and she bought me the moccasin boots in the '70s when I was a kid. My favorite wrestler was Chief Jay Strongbow. For those that remember WWF back in the '70s, after Fight Night used to come on, and I used to do that. So basically that's what the government did in the 20s. They wrote the Indian people out of history, and it took them a long time to do it. They put a nice system in place, and it's going to be hard to tear that system down, especially if you don't know. So basically what I like to do is I like to do a paper trail. I like to do the genealogy, as opposed to the DNA, so that way we can trace and we can build a family tree. um, It was pretty easy for me, being that my father was 53 when I was conceived, so it was easy to go back and trace my lineage, as well as my mother. I highly recommend the lineage, but the first thing you want to do is you want to try to identify who you are. Once you identify who you are, you want to put the corporation on notice that you know who you are, and and this is who you are. You're not going by their colorable laws. And when you do your lineage and your genealogy, and you find out who your tribe is, you get compensated. A lot of people don't know this though. This is another thing that I do. Your tribe gets compensated. Some tribes were bigger than others. You might get $5,000 a month, might even get $10,000 a month to pay your bills. You're considered an off reservation Indian. And you get paid for that. So basically, what I do, like I said, I trace back your genealogy, and what we do is an acknowledgement. We put you on the record, and we show how we trace your lineage to prove who you are. I will do that for anybody. I'm not biased. I won't just do it for my people. I think it's very pertinent that people know who they are. People act the way they are, and they do things for a reason. And I'm trying to help them find out what that reason is.
Well, I just want you said who people need to know who they are, and as I stated in the because now it's time for me to talk. I always do this. I let everybody else talk, and I just wait for it's my time to talk.
Mhm.
Um, I'm gonna touch from the spiritual side, and especially being that we talking about our ancestors, and then I'm gonna let you guys say your last pieces. Then we're gonna get up on out of here. To know thyself is so important. Um, for a long time, I used to always say, well, I'm gonna go back. Everybody done told this, so let me tell a little story very quick. When I was about three, I say 2, 3. Um, My mother was living on Schenectady Avenue in Brooklyn, and I remember she had my uncle over, um, and his partner, and I had a Smurf bed with the canopy. I'm not sure anybody remembers. I'm telling my age. The canopies back then with the Smurfs, and to make room for everybody, she put one of my mattresses on the floor so that I could say she put me on the goddamn floor, so I could sleep on the floor, and he slept on the other mattress on the bed. And my mother and my stepfather at the time was in the bed, and the cat came over, and the cat woke me up, and I'm just sitting there in the middle of the night, and I guess this was my first experience with coming to you know how they say when children come in, they coming from the spirit world, and they forget who they are once they actually be awakened in this realm and this earth. And I think that's the moment that I had, because I sat up and I just was looking around and I said, where did I come from? Mind you, I'm about 2 or 3 years old. I'm not 4 years old yet. And the reason why I know that because my grandmother passed away when I was 4. And I'm sitting there like, well, where did I come from? I said, I know my mother, I know this person, I know my uncle, I know that person. I kept going down the line of who I know. And I said, all I remember was me being black. I mean, all I can remember was black. I said, I don't remember anything before this. Everything just was black. And at the time, I didn't know that I was just remembering my spirit coming from the ether. It's deep. This is when you're going through meditation, and this is when you on that real spiritual journey. Um, so moving forward, so I always was troubled, like, who am I? I always felt like I didn't fit in certain places. I didn't fit in certain environments. I always just was a little different, always a little awkward. Growing up, I was real shy, and then once I became an adult, I became very vocal. That's why I could be real shy in the beginning and let everybody talk, and at the end, I'm like, hey, my turn, my turn, my turn. you know. Um, so knowing thyself, I was having a conversation. I'm not sure if I spoke about it on this season. I was having a conversation with one of my uncles, my cousin Dwight, and he was giving me some history, and it was very empowering. And around this time is when I was setting up certain things in my house, and my ancestors was giving me dreams. And one of the dreams that they was giving me was how an ancestor, they showed me the white slave master and everything, how they was planning to kill him in his sleep. And they did. At nighttime they killed him in his sleep. He had the slave master had this assistant who watched over the slaves. She was this big burly white looking woman, looked like she could have been a stud. That's what the words that they use nowadays. That was one dream they showed me. And then another dream that they showed me was, I'm gonna try to hurry the story up, but I don't want to hurry up too much. Another dream they showed me is when they was on a run, and you know how dreams just turn into something else. They showed me two different eras of my ancestry, and now it's around the time they had guns, and it was like Tommy guns and stuff like that. But then they had went back. They was jumping all over the place. They went all the way back to go get his son. His father was the slave master. His father was having orgies with the slaves, right? He came in, um, and the slaves was down there doing what they doing, and his father, which is the slave master, said, "Hey, son, you're gonna get on." He like, "Yeah," but the son was like, he knew what was his plan, because he already told his son, "You're gonna meet me right here at this time." He just was going to show his face, and he picked that time to run away with his son because he knew that his father/slave master was going to be too engulfed inside this sexual orgy, right? Because we all know this is what the slave masters was doing with the slaves back in the days, right? They got away. Moving forward, I didn't even tell my cousin Dwight, which is an older cousin. He's about in his 60s, going to be 70. This dream. So we was talking about things that happened within our bloodline and why certain things happened. And he was telling me things take place, and why I am the way I am, and certain traumas that happen within the family. And he said, you come from a strong family. One is I have Geechee Gullah in my blood. My uncle Eric told me this part of how my great grandmother Etta Mitchell, she was born on a plantation. I know her, personally. I love you, Ibaye Etta Mitchell. She was a strong woman, but I didn't notice about her until I got older. They told me that which was her father, he was the chief of the Geechee Gullah tribe in Alabama. He had sex with a woman that was on the slave plantation. My great grandmother was born there. I see the pictures with my grandma look like a fat butterball with the whole generation. She's sitting on somebody's lap. She was about 4 or 5 months old, and her father, was the chief. He did not want my grandmother to grow up on that plantation. He went and stole my grandmother in the night and brought her back to the tribe and taught her all the indigenous ways. And that's why I'm able to be a healer. That's why I work with herbs. I work with the elements, and I know the power of my hands, and things of that nature. Knowing thyself, knowing where you come from, knowing your lineage. Now going back to my cousin Dwight about when he said, we so powerful. He said, I forgot her name. I'm so sorry for forgetting you your name. He told me of how our ancestor, um, she had actually chopped the head off of her slave master. She got tired and she severed his head off of his body, and she walked away free, and she didn't give a good goddamn. She moved somewhere up here in the north, and she became a sharecropper, and she was rich. you know. And my grandmother, who's from the Geechee Gullah tribe, she, like I said, with the herbs and the healing things of that nature, she was an entrepreneur. She had many restaurants in Brownsville and Brooklyn. She also had a candy store. Like, this woman was so strong and she was so powerful. So once I begin to know my past and basically know the family that I come from, I was able to, and also it was also things about myself that I didn't like, as far as um we all know that I had anxiety, suffer with anxiety every now and again. That's passed down from my bloodline. So me knowing that was able to help me heal things about myself. Because we all know that our blood, within our DNA, we carry 15 to 20 generations of our ancestors' genealogy. So we have our ancestors' trauma, we have our ancestors' pain, but we also have, and this is what my ancestors told me, yeah, you have the bad, but guess what? You have the good too. You are a warrior, you are strong, you are business savvy, and don't you ever stop, and you keep going. So I want to touch on that basis of knowing thyself. Sometimes we have to know who we are so that we could be able to go forward with that. And everything is not going to be your peaches and cream. Just learn how to mix it up in a nice melting pot and just make it yours so that you can be able to manifest the world that you need to manifest, and be an alchemist and do the damn thing. Knowing thyself is so beautiful, and knowing thyself is so healing and so powerful. To know that my ancestors came through all of that, and I know these ancestors that I know a few of them in real lifetime, and she whooped my ass one time with a switch of some of my great grandmother Etta. She didn't use the belt. She used the switch with the thorns, and she had at least 10 behind the door of her bedroom, and she had different sizes for different reasons, or the difference of level what she thinks she needed to whoop your ass for. She was a Southern woman. You feel me? And I remember she was walking, and she was walking with that switch, but she had that limp. And I said, "Oh shit, I'll get ready to get my ass whipped." But I needed that. I needed that to set me straight that day because I didn't respect her. I didn't know
Right.
the Etta that everybody else knew. I didn't know the Etta. I didn't know the great grandmother that she'll knock you on your behind. I didn't know her. I knew more of the see now Etta. I knew more of the slow Etta. You know what I'm saying? I knew more of the gray hair Etta. I didn't know that Etta, and she had to show me. And ever since then, I ain't never messed with her no more. So to know thyself and to know who you are and to know where you came from, have if you have any elders around, or if your elders is not around, if you have anyone that know of your elders, talk to them. Ask questions. One thing that I will say, when my father died all year, I kept saying, I gotta talk to my father because I don't know his side. I gotta talk to my father. I gotta talk to my father. I gotta ask him some questions. And then he died the year of COVID. He didn't die from COVID. He died the year of COVID in December. His birthday was March 18th. He had a surgery on his birthday, and in my spirit, I said, "Oh my God," I got so afraid. I said, I have to get these questions. I have to talk to my father, and I didn't. I procrastinated, and then there was one day on December 14th. I said, "Oh, you know what? I'm gonna give my father a call today because I was in Manhattan and he lived in Harlem." And then when I got home, I said, it's 10 o'clock. I'll call him tomorrow. There was no tomorrow because he died that night. I got a call 45 minutes later. Your father just had a stroke. And then 30 minutes later after that, I got a call. He didn't make it. So get with your people if they are still around so that you can be able to know who you are and be able to, have these questions that needs to be answered so that you can have some kind of comfort and know which way to go and know your strengths and your weaknesses. To know your weaknesses is not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing because you know how to protect yourself. You know how to nurture yourself. You know how to love yourself. So yeah, I think I'll finish. I had to get all of that out. I digress. We can get
Okay,
ready to close
okay.
in a minute. Does anybody have any last words?
Well, let me say
Anybody have any
this.
last words? Brother El-Dey,
Yeah, can
you
you
have
hit?
any last words? Oh,
Go
I
ahead,
okay.
want
brother.
to. I want
Okay.
to. I want to do it again. I want to do it again.
He said he wanted to do it again. You heard him?
I
Okay.
want to do it
Definitely.
again.
Yeah. Yep, I heard him. Definitely.
Okay. Well,
Definitely. Go ahead, El-Hajj.
yeah, it's very important, like what you said, Sister Etoy, the knowledge of ourselves. Some of us will have to spend, if we really dedicated, at least a year or more, particularly if we, depending on our biological age. Because if you was mentally dead, spiritually dead for 30 years of your life, 40 years of your life, maybe 50 years of your life, there's a lot of trauma, there's a lot of misinformation here. As I said before, most of our problems as a people is from the neck up. So, therefore, we have to read a lot of books. We have to get information to get the knowledge of ourselves. Before we before they kidnapped us and brought us here, we had what was called the rites of passage. A black male had to go through some things by with elders to get to the next level. Today we don't have that. So a young man grows up without a rites of passage of knowing who he is. Let me share this with you because I know it's late. But what we was taught in Islam, particularly under the nation, we studied the alphabets. And we know that the alphabets are letters. When you put them together, they form words and they form ideas. But if you look at the ninth letter of the English alphabet, you have what is called I. But after
Mm-hmm.
the ninth month, when we come into this universe out of the womb of the woman, we are I. 9 months, we take on an ID, an identity. That's the knowledge of ourselves. Who are we after that ninth month? That's why it's important that we are
Mm-hmm.
shaped by mothers and fathers and the community of conscious. Because when they come out of the birth canal, that ninth month, you have an identity. Your parents, your grandparents give you a name. And that's why names are important, because now you take on that identity, who you are. Are you a chemist? Are you an engineer? Are you a spiritual leader? Who are you after the ninth month? It is so important because after the ninth month, now the grooming part process starts. The knowledge of yourself starts. And so we have to read books. What that brother was sharing, the brother Chief, requires of us to read books. Nothing is going to come out of the sky to reform our people. When we talk about nationhood, brotherhood,
Mm-hmm.
sisterhood, spirituality, we have to open up books. And it has to be the right books. People have already did the
Mm-hmm.
work. Audience, the brothers and sisters out there, many of you all know that. There are many scholars, Dr. Henry Clark, Dr. Ben Jockman, Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Noble Drew Ali, there's a whole, Walter Rodney, France Fanon, people that deals with scholarship that deals with what's going on in our head. To know yourself requires of us to dedicate most of our life, biological life, because we wasted a lot of time arguing over foolishness, worrying about what entertainers and what artists is doing, and they don't even know you. And many of them need the knowledge of themselves. And they have an advantage because they have the money to hire the best teachers and to be tutored in their home. They ain't got to go nowhere. So at the end of the day, it's about knowing thyself. The knowledge of yourself is the key to our very existence. And the ancient ancestors knew that. We have to have the knowledge of ourselves. So I'm going to end on that. But certainly, this discussion requires, that's up to you, E-Toy, because you are the hostess of this show. Many people get it, but some people are very, very slow. Why 50 years
And I
later?
wanna, I wanna, I
Yeah,
wanna
yeah, go
piggyback.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I want to piggyback on what you said about rites of passage,
Yes.
because I went through a rites of passage after my nervous breakdown. It was a real
Okay.
rites of passage. I went through the Queen of Fua, Sacred Woman rites of passage, and I needed that.
Mm.
It was about some deep, 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 deep healing, going into the womb, going into the trauma, going into the pain, going into the three wombs of the mind, the heart, and our womb seat. Going, tapping in with our ancestors. A lot of breath work, eating fresh, exercising. It was just so many things came up, and I was tested so much. I'm happy to stay on the schedule. I'm not really good with schedules, so I'm really proud of myself, and that's why I'm so adamant about starting on time when it comes to this podcast. But having to get up at 4 a.m. in the morning to pray every day, and taking spiritual baths every day. But it molded me, it helped me along the way, and it did help heal a lot. And what I loved about that rites of passage, it's a community, and I'm able to always go back into the gateways. It was the gateways of Newt, which is your womb, gateway of Ta'ert, which is food, you know, oh my God, please don't kill me. Gateway of sacred word, gateway of sacred seat, gateway of your heart, gateway of sacred relationships, gateway of sacred time, gateway of sacred work. And let me tell you something. This podcast was birthed out of that, going through that rites of passage. When it came to Mesh Connect, which one I ascended from, um, I believe I should have ascended in Het Haru or in Newt, because being your full capacity of your beauty, you have to heal your childhood. And at that time, I was because I had went through so much detrimental pain that I didn't look like myself anymore. I was looking crazy. I'm next time I should have had the pictures up here so I could show y'all. My face was all sunken on like a crackhead. I had like raccoon circles around my eyes. Oh, where's Brother L? Okay. I have circles around my eyes. The connection is going crazy right now, but we're gonna keep this going.
Yeah.
It's going crazy right now. But we're gonna keep it going. So when you talk about the rites of passage, I had to really tap into myself and like really love myself and remember who I am. And that's where a lot of the ancestry work begin to come into play. Doing healing myself so that my blood clot could be healed. I learned from my godfather's godfather, who is very powerful. He said, if we light a candle for our ancestor today, because time is a construct, time does not exist. Um, if we light a candle for our ancestor today, we could be able to save our ancestor from being hung in the past, or hung, or beaten or castrated that same day. Meaning that if we light a candle for our ancestor today, that spirit will go back and say, hey, to the master, hey, well, maybe not today, uh, just let it slide, or just whatever. You got to go over here and count these barrels of cotton. You really don't have time. That's gonna take away time. Da 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 da. And when he said that, it clicked with me how I always would hear, time is here. There's no such thing as time. So once I started to do more ancestry work and working more with my ancestors, I began to heal more. But like you said, I also had to study. I
Yeah.
had to read. I had to do the work. I could not just talk about it. I had to actually study. And my ancestors just started bringing me, certain materials here, here, here,
Mm,
here. And to the point sometimes I felt overwhelmed, but they always said you could take a break. You can always
mm,
step back, because
mm,
remember, you are the key player. I want everybody who's still watching. You are the key player. You are the MVP. You are here in this body. You are a spirit having a human experience, and you are here in this body because you decided to come here. We just don't remember once we get here. So that's why Brother L always talking about, you got to do your reading, and I add to that, you also got, once you do the reading, you got to do the work.
yeah.
We just can't sit here and get the knowledge and then be like, because now it's a waste of time. And how I know that, because I've done it, got the knowledge, and then just expected for everything just to happen. No, I got to vibrate on that frequency. I got to put in that work. You
Yeah.
feel what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I
Yeah.
digress. I went a little further, but I'm on fire now. I let y'all get the whole
Yeah, but that's
whole
okay.
half of the show.
Yeah,
Now
no,
I'm
no,
on fire. Now I feel like,
you are
I gotta talk. I gotta get
you
it
the,
out. I gotta get
you're
it
the host
out.
of the show. You're the host of the show, and and by Allah's grace, you gave me an opportunity to express myself on this platform. Because I'm a reader. I study and I talk with other brothers and sisters, not on these type of platforms. Because I think some of our work got to be done behind the scenes. Like there's a book said, the revolution will never be televised. That's true. Okay, it only become televised
Hmm.
when we put uh, attention to it. You know, the Nation of Islam under the Army of Elijah Muhammad, Minister Malcolm X was his chief spokesperson
Hmm.
at that time. When that documentary came out, that hate produced, it scared the hell out of the social structure. The Nation of Islam was around since the 1930s. And let me say this for those
Mm.
out there: Islam, most of our people came in chains. 20% were Muslim from the west coast of Africa. But when we got here, of systematic destruction, we lost our way. But the Nation of Islam was doing the work since the 1930s. Malcolm came on board in the 1950s when he got out of prison. But when they did that segment, and some of you can still view it probably on YouTube, that hate produced, that's when the Nation of Islam became known in the social structure. And that's when they decided we got to stop his chief spokesperson, Minister Malcolm X. Okay? So a lot of times we got to do this work of
Mm.
reform and the knowledge of self, not with cameras. Because a lot of our leaders and some of our clergymen, only time they come around is when ABC, CBS, CNN is around. This work of redemption, reformation, and trying to awaken the conscience of all people can't be done in front of this lens. Some of us need to do that. We have that assignment to be on cameras. But some of us have to do the work behind the scenes. But some of us don't want to do the work unless we're in front of that camera. That means
Mhm.
when the camera's gone, you're gone. Pookie and that's
Mhm.
out there, there's no
Mm.
cameras out there. The only time cameras come when it's a homicide or when they do something or they're murdered by the police or they murder each other. That's when the cameras come. Our work, let me say
Mhm.
this before we came in this world in darkness. It's called the womb of darkness. But Allah says in the Quran that we came through triple darkness. We came in this world in darkness into the realm of light. But there's another level of darkness and light, and that deals with the knowledge of yourself. And I've told brothers for years, because I experienced it, I'm a product of it. Until the black man, the brown man, but particularly the black and brown, admit to themselves that they're lost, there's no hope for them. They have to first admit that they're lost.
Mm.
And then they can be on the road to the knowledge of self. But
Mhm.
because of ego and arrogance, and they think they can figure this out on their own, it's a possibility. But most of our leaders, just
Mhm.
about all of them, are readers. Readers are leaders, and leaders are readers. You find a leader who's profound, deep, know that he and she are readers. We have to read. We have to study. We didn't get into this situation by the colonists of this world. They were very much educated. Yes, many of them came from the dregs of Europe, but the way they put this system together, they did their homework. And the only way we're going to get out of this, we're not going to get out of this high, we're not going to get out of this drunk. We have to figure out a way. Don't get angry, don't get emotional, get smart. Because this system was not put together by angry people. They systematically put this system in place. And only way for us to get out of this situation,
Mhm.
to be a free people, the knowledge of ourselves. It's simple, but it's complicated for many of us because we got to move all the cobwebs. We got to move some things in our attic. This is the attic right here. The attic right here. We got to move some furniture around
Tell
in
me
here.
about it.
We got to move a lot of furniture around in here. As I said before, it's from our problem is from the neck up. So on that note, you know me, I'm long-winded. We'll be here for the next 2 hours. But like I said
Man,
again, it's more.
I wanted to
Yeah.
I wanted to piggyback off of that. I wanted to piggyback, but I'm not gonna do that because, like you said number two. I think number three because I could attest to that. Because I'm doing that now. You know, I didn't. You know, I always been conscious within it because with my uncles and aunts but I didn't realize how much damage I had going on until I hit 40. So that was 40 years, 40 years of trauma and brainwashing that I am trying to move from my subconscious, from my body, because
Your attic. Your attic. You got a lot of
whatever's
furniture you got to
programming
move around.
from my attic.
Right.
So once whatever's programming your mind, your subconscious, you automatically think like that. You automatically walk like that, talk like that, so forth and so on. So now certain endorphins is going off and it's triggering certain hormones. So now my body is looking for it. I said to myself, I was a junkie off of negative thoughts, off of negative thinking. I was a junkie off of trauma because
Negative
now that
food.
I went cold turkey, negative food. So now I went cold turkey and I don't have nothing to cope with, meaning that I'm not smoking no more. I'm not, I'm not drinking the way I used to drink. I have a casual drink every couple of months now. I'm not with my husband like that, so I'm not having intercourse to release that energy. So I know I'm TMI, but somebody need to hear this. It was cold turkey. You know how when somebody got going to rehab and they just start going through the motions and going through the shakes? That was me. That was
Yeah.
very hard. That was very tough. And to do that alone, be by my. Remember how you said I fell with the face of the earth and you thought I killed myself?
Yeah. 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 Because
Remember
I,
you said that?
yeah, I did say that to you. Right. Because yeah, I didn't see you. Right.
So
And then,
you
yeah, go ahead. And then what happened was
Ex-
I put it out
I
there in
was
the
going in.
atmosphere.
I was going in.
Right. I put it out there in the atmosphere, and then I saw you. Right. Because sometimes we put words out in the atmosphere, it
Right.
connects energy. Words have vibration. Colors have vibration.
Yes.
When we talk about the spiritual realm,
Yes.
ladies and gentlemen out there, I'm not talking about Casper the ghost because there are things that are invisible. There are airwaves, invisible radio waves coming right through your house right now. It's invisible. Okay, so there are
Yep.
things that are invisible that have reality, like oxygen. It's invisible, but it has reality. Gravity has reality. Some of us have to understand that there's certain levels of knowledge. There's certain levels that we have to gravitate to.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we're dealing with the knowledge of self, something that you mentioned, 40. Well, 40 is a very, very significant number. We don't have time to get into that. But there's a lot of
I thought
wisdom
about that. I thought
of,
about that. I thought about that. I thought about
yeah,
with Joseph.
yeah,
Yo, I thought
yeah.
about that with the ark. you
Right. 40
know,
days,
I
40
was like,
nights. Jesus
okay,
fasted
I
40
hit.
days, 40 nights, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right.
I thought
You
about
know,
that.
they were according to the Bible, and I say according to the Bible, you know, the children of Israel wandered in the desert for 40 years with Moses. And because the old had to die off, so
Right?
the young can
Yes.
be,
But
you follow
Moses,
what I'm saying?
yes, yes.
Right. So these are
Mm-hmm.
spiritual metaphors because some of us, right now, as we speak right
Mm-hmm.
now, many of us are old in spirit. That's why most revolutions, and I'm not talking about the arm, I'm talking about the revolution of the mind, most leaders go to the young. Most leaders go to the young because the
But wait,
young will have
hold
the
on.
revel.
I gotta,
Yeah.
hold on. I gotta piggyback off of that because we way over our
Yeah.
time, but I gotta
Oh,
get this
okay.
out.
Okay.
So when
Yeah.
you said the 40, so and you
Yeah.
all everything that you brought up, that's what my ancestors and my spirit kept bringing to me. They kept bringing to me about the 40 days, the 40 nights, Moses, um, how he wandered in the wilderness for 40 years. But guess what? He lived his first 40 years because that happened when he was 40, right?
Right.
That happened
Absolutely.
when he
There you
was
go.
40. He was raised
Absolutely.
by the king, which wasn't his
Right.
father. He killed
Right.
he killed somebody in the kingdom, and then he
Right.
went to his people, who his people
Right.
really didn't even know him. So he had to get he's used to having this kind of status, and then once he get to the wilderness with his people, he had to learn everything all over again. And
There
they
you
said,
go.
"This is you. You gotta let go everything, and you're gonna have to
Absolutely.
get taught by the young." And guess
That's
what?
right.
My godfather is younger than me. I can't make this up. I swear to God. I don't know what point where I was going to go to, but because I'm just so excited right now. But oh, and also I had turned 40. Guess what year that was? 2020. What you at when you do
Mm.
20 and 20?
Yeah.
That's 40.
That's right. Right.
And then
Absolutely.
on a as a numerologist, the number 4 that deals with the mental. What am I doing now?
Yeah.
I had a nervous breakdown, and then now I'm a mental health advocate, and now I have a podcast on mental health. I
And
can't
don't.
make this up.
And let me say this
you
to
know,
you. And let me say this to the audience and myself included, and all of us. And you can correct me if I'm wrong. We all come into this existence in 40 weeks, right? So our
yes,
foundation.
the 10 months.
Right,
Yes,
right. See, I know it'll resonate. It'll resonate with you and people out there. The creator of the heavens and the earth created mathematics for a reason. It has a literal meaning and it has a spiritual meaning. We have to study the spiritual meaning because there's scholars that say, well, God must be interested in mathematics. Absolutely. Because our heartbeat, time, the sun rising, setting, the distance that we walk,
yes.
our blood pressure, everything is centered around a mathematical foundation. The problem with us, we don't study, we're quick to criticize without doing a thorough investigation. And that's what I said with Brother Chief. All that he said requires of us. We can reject it, but you have to have a knowledge base to to reject something, because now you're operating on emotion. So it requires of us to read, to study. Why would the enslaver deprive
Yes.
our people for 300 years of reading? He would gouge out their eyes, boil them in water, boil them in hot oil if he found that the slave was
Mm.
reading. Our ancestors knew the importance of reading, but what is our excuse today? Nobody's going
Mm.
to kick down your door and say, "What are you reading?" It's our laziness. We're too damn lazy. We must
Mm.
read. They put us in this situation, or we
Mm.
put ourselves in, by not reading. Why would our scholars, men and women, some of them went practically blind? I'm talking about African American scholars, African scholars who wrote books, and we don't even buy their books. And they go to their grave with more knowledge in their head, because the publisher who publishes the books will tell you, "Well, E-Toy, I already published 100,000 books, and your books are not selling. Your books are not selling. So now you're coming to me with another title, with another manuscript? No. So now you go to your grave with a wealth of knowledge, because the people, our people, haven't even bought the books that you studied, that you traveled, that you had to maybe knock down some doors and had to make some compromises. We don't even buy the books that are published. And some of us think, well, I need something new. Damn it, you haven't even mastered what was already given to you by great teachers. Why are we waiting 50
Mm.
years later that what Malcolm said now rings true today? Because we're too damn slow. He was on time. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was on time. Many other leaders, Marcus Garvey and others, the father was on time teaching the youth. He knew the importance. You got to go after the babies, go after the youth. Because the old, they too set in their ways. They scared. They got mortgages. They worrying about death. They're trying to please people. Youth don't have that. They don't worry about the odds against them.
Mm.
That's why many revolutionaries go after the youth. They are the prime real estate spiritually to go after, because the social structure go after you. They want you to buy the next phone, iPhone 20. They already got that in their plans. They're worrying about the youth because they understand the power of the youth. While we playing around, we're wasting valuable
Mm.
time. We're wasting valuable time. And so what we studied in that
Yes.
package, it says that the devil planted fear in them when they were little boys. The devil planted fear. Those out there know who I'm talking
Mm.
about. It's referencing English C lesson 1 to 36, where it says, the devil planted fear in them when they were little boys. They planted fear. If you've seen someone tortured or hanged or lynched and you're a little boy, it can traumatize you. Particularly if you say, this man, he's working for our people. Damn, he was killed like that. It may put fear in some of us. And that's what they do. They create assassinations to plant fear in young people. That if you stand on the principles
Mm-hmm.
that this man stood for, this might be your outcome too. It's a deep psychology. It's spiritual. As I said before, I told you and I told others, there are people who are spiritual snipers. They zapping the spirituality out of our people. And some of us don't even know that, because we don't, when we talk about the soul of the
Mm-hmm.
spirit, if you don't know about these things, then you can't protect it. We see things that are tangible, but guess what? All ideas come from here. Then it becomes external. Before they created this iPhone, it was a thought. Someone had a thought and said, I'm going to create a, a device that I don't need a cord, only for charging. I'm going to create a microphone. I'm going to create a building. I'm going to create this next software. Everything comes from here. It's invisible and then it comes into a living reality. And that's how the universe came in. When we understand it was nothing and then something came into being. And that's how some of our leaders are, young people.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have to be careful what we teach them because some people overlook young people, but they are a untapped reservoir of knowledge. They have to be directed. But the social structure misdirect them because they understand the power of youth too. They understand that if the youth
Mm-hmm.
get into the hands of certain people of conscious, they can change this world overnight. That's why they was afraid of Michael Jackson. That's why they were afraid of Prince. That's why they were afraid of great artists who was using the words of song, like the song that he made, "Man in the Mirror." They don't care about us. And other
Mm-hmm.
artists,
Mm-hmm.
they understand they
Mm-hmm.
understand the power of words. And if it's given to the youth, they it's over. It's over.
Mm-hmm.
It's over. Okay? So we got to be careful who our youth listen to, especially if they're your children. If they're not your children, they still your children. When you get a certain age, have them in a certain
Mm-hmm.
circle and a certain surrounding because we can do a lot of damage. And so the sisters out there, I know there are a lot of sisters that watch and listen to this podcast. You are the first teacher and trainer of your family. In scriptural language, women represent society and men represent leadership. Yes, you're a leader too, but you fashion new life. You're feeding, you're the first nurse. You're the first one to teach. Without you, there will be no generals. Without you, there will be no prophets. Without you, there will be no astronauts. Without you, there'll be nothing. We can't get here without your uterus. And brothers go out here disrespecting women. You are
And that'll
disrespecting
be a
the
whole nother
scripture.
conversation.
Oh yeah, we gotta cut. Listen,
That'll
you've been
been
very generous. You've
yo.
been very
We
generous, sister.
yeah, we gotta cut it.
Yeah, you've been very generous. We gotta,
Because
yeah,
the way they ostracizing the black woman, they trying to take the natural woman away. I don't identify as a cis woman, but that's a whole nother topic. I'm a
yeah,
natural woman. I have natural everything. That's and and that everybody identifies with what they identify with. I identify as a natural woman, and that is not to offend anyone. But I don't think that us women. I don't care what race you are, and after this we got to close because we just keep going. This I don't care what race you have. All women are part of a subordinate group. All women, all women. We didn't have no rights to vote at one time. They wouldn't even give women a job. Now it doesn't even matter what race, color, creed. If she was a woman and she had a womb, she wasn't allowed to get nothing more than a maid's job or a babysitting job or a nanny job. And then when they did start giving women, employment, letting them out into the workforce, they had secretarial jobs or nursing jobs. So even now to this day, women are still fighting, you know, to get equal pay with men. See, this is a whole. See, we veering off. We veering off the topic, but this is talking about knowing who you are, knowing
yes,
thyself. And
yes.
I am a woman, and I have to say that because the woman is under attack right now, and they making it where if a woman speaks up for herself, I remember Just the Mess, she spoke up, and then she handled herself very well with that situation. Um, if if they got this new thing identified now. So if I don't, you can't tell me who I am. You can't tell me that. You just can't tell me who I am. If I can't tell you who you are, you can't tell me who I am.
That's right.
That's not fair.
Absolutely. No, it's not.
And I birthed 5 children. I brought five
Mm.
beings through my womb. I breastfed. I breastfed. And every 28 days, I have eggs pass through. That's what makes me a natural woman. Okay. That's not to offend anyone. That's just me sticking up for who I am and what I identify with. And I'm probably going to get a lot of backlash, for this. And I'm not, and let me tell you something. I love all my people because I have people that I love who that is true and dear to me who's in certain communities. And guess what? Even though they are in certain communities, they know the power of a woman. And guess what? They teach me some things about the power of the woman. You feel me? So it's just that's we already two hours in, 2 hours, 1 minute and
Uh,
34, 5, 6, 7 seconds. So I don't want to go with. I'm probably going to get a lot of backlash for that, but I have to speak. This is why I create this platform. That is not to offend anyone. I'm just tired of people telling me how who I am. I'm tired of people telling me how I should present myself. I'm tired of people telling me how I should represent myself. I am representing myself the way I want to represent myself, and how what it says, me with my makeup, with my DNA makeup. I have fought long and hard to set myself in this body, and I am not gonna let anyone or anything take that away from me because I know what the agenda is. And here we go. This could be another conversation. They want to control the birth rate, but that's a whole other conversation. That's a whole other conversation. But we getting too deep. So I digress on that. I'm getting ready to close out. Do you have any last words?
yeah,
Again, it's like my fourth time saying that.
yo,
You have any last
wait,
words?
let Chief. I'm gonna let Chief. I'm gonna let Chief make some remarks, and then I'm gonna make some just short remarks because you know me, I'll turn it into another podcast discussion. Yeah, brother Chief, if you want to add something, brother Chief.
Thank you, brother. Nah, y'all both hit it pretty much on the head. Salute and gratitude to both of y'all for having me on here. Y'all excellent people. Love your energy. Um, and basically, what I want to say to the people that nationality is really the order of the day. Um, I'll be willing to help anybody that's willing to claim their nationality. I go across the country and I teach. I could be reached at Kirby Trayon at gmail.com, or you can find me on Facebook at Trayon Kirby El-Dey.com. And I digress. I love
Mhm.
hearing you two people. Go ahead, brother.
Thank you.
Hmm.
I'll end with this because it's getting late, and we want to be respectful of people watching the podcast. There's the Old Testament scripture that in the book of Hosea. It says, "My people perish because of lack of knowledge." The book of Hosea. Those of you can go to the Old Testament. O is eight capital Hosea, I believe. Hosea. The prophet Hosea says, "My people perish because of lack of knowledge." This is very important that we come into the knowledge of who we are. And when we know who the creator of life is, then we know who we are. We have no more excuses. We have the internet. At one time, Etoy, you know, parents had to afford, if they could afford it, the Encyclopedia Britannica. It was like a 20-volume book. My parents couldn't afford that. We had to get something a little bit,
Right.
the Fugazi one, because at that time there was no computers. Sometimes we had to do homework, school projects, book reports. We had to rely on that. Today, everything is in this phone. The phone only play a minimal part.
Yes.
This is the computer. If people want to know about Egypt, about Assyria, about Babylonia, it's right here at your fingertips. We have no excuse, but we misuse this device. We misuse the podcast because we involve in gossip and fault finding and trying to ruin the reputation of people. Because some people use this for evil. We want to use this podcast. I want to pray and make dua for to Allah about this podcast, about other podcasts who are speaking positively, who are trying to raise the conscious level of our people, of all people. This is what this device should be used, not for the negative. And let me end on this. There's two lines This is the dead, horizontal, and the vertical. Where are we? When we came out of the womb of our mother, we crawled on all four. When we start watching our parents and others walk on two legs, we become this. We have two lines, one vertical, one horizontal, one vertical. What are we in our adult stage? Are we still like this? Or are we like this? This is the knowledge. When you become knowledgeable, you become upright. You become moral. You become thinking not below the waistline, but upward. But if you're still acting like a dog, dogs don't walk on two legs. They walk on four. What are we? So on that note, I'm going to end right there because that's a lot to unpack. What line are we? Are we horizontal? Are we
Yeah.
vertical? And when we look in the black community, this gentrification, we see buildings going up. But in our
Mm-hmm.
community, what do we see? Know that when life comes to us, we see industry, we see development. But right now, we're like this in many of our communities, the dead level. Thank you, E-Toy, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much. And thank the audience out there for being
You're
patient with
welcome.
us.
Yes,
Thank
we
you
had
very
some
much. Thank you.
complications before y'all go because I want to answer this question because it was I made a comment and somebody asked the question. It's my girl Fisa. She needs to be on the show. She does great work. She
Okay.
said, "What's your pronouns?" I guess I was talking about me being a natural woman. You know, I'm still conflicted with that pronoun thing. What is pronouns? I guess I don't really want to say it on the podcast because I don't want to identify with something that I'm saying it wrong because I'm not really educated on that. But did she respond? Did she respond? Oh, he said peace, Visa. If you still on that, cause you put why do you put shaking my head? Please let me know. But if I guess if I had to put her, I guess that's what I see everybody else. Put that's identify as a natural woman. Pronouns or certain applications. I don't even put that. In my old school, I don't know. It's just scenes. It's like it's more of a like of a segregation thing that's happening again. Over it's just finding more ways to segregate us as a people. You know, this pronoun, that pronoun, this community, that and oh, he said I'm breaking up. And I feel that and I understand that because we all want to be a part of something, and we all want to belong to something, but on certain things I just don't agree with right now. And I may lose some people behind that. And it's okay, but I have to be true to myself, knowing thyself, and I have to stand within my truth. I have to stay within my truth. So yeah, that's that. Um, yeah. So on that, I want to say thank you, gentlemen, for tapping in. Thank you for your knowledge. I said an hour and a half. We went over again, as usual, because that's how it go. Our conversations, they always fire up at the end, and I don't be wanting to cut it short. So who, like I always say, whoever's here to hear it, I know the work that I am doing. I am doing the most high work. I am doing the work of the spirit. And oh, she said, yeah, okay. I'm doing the work of the spirit, and working with my ancestors, and whoever's supposed to be here all the way to the end, they will be here. Whatever. Oh, she said, thank you. I'm tired of it. Thank you. See, that's why she put
Okay.
shaking my head because she said
Oh,
she's
okay.
tired of it. See, I'm not the
Okay.
only one in this. And that's why I have to speak my truth. Because if I was
Yes.
afraid to speak my truth, I wouldn't have known that she agreed with me. You
Right.
feel what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? I'm not the
That's right.
only one. It's like,
That's right.
come on, So again, thank you, gentlemen. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
y'all.
Thank you.
Yes, we must have a part two.
Mhm.
And I want to say thank you to brother Trey El-Dey, because me and him spoke yesterday, and he agreed to come on today. You know, so I want to say thank you for the last minute. um if we do this again, you could bring some more references. You could have like your notes, the thing that you
Absolutely.
want to talk
Absolutely.
about, things of that nature. Because normally my viewers, they normally ask a lot of questions. Sometimes the questions be, I'm like, hold on, wait a minute, but we have this question. So that's what I want for next, because what the information that you are bringing is very profound, and people need to understand that. And maybe next time you'll have more time to prepare, and you could. And I know you're traveling. We didn't know you was traveling, so you could be and have yourself set up where your Wi-Fi is better, and your lighting, whatever else you need to take care of. But I want to say thank you for taking out your time to to just to come on my show and and bless the stage. Thank
Thank
you
you
to
for
my
having me.
mentor, Brother El-Hajj Saladin.
Thank you,
Thank you,
brother.
Yes.
thank you,
Thank
thank
you.
you, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you to
Thank
my
you.
mentor for always coming on and doing what you do. That's why you see on the flyer I just put co-host, because this is your sixth time here. So just know that anytime you are on, you're not a guest, you are a co-host. So
Okay.
I told you that from the beginning before I
I know
started
you
this
did.
season. I
I
said, nope, I
know.
want to bring you on as a co-host. I said
Yes.
that. I said
Yes.
that. And you said, well, we'll
Yes.
try it out. We'll try that. Well, look at that. And I remember on the third episode, you goes, I said, we can, bring me. You said, I don't know about that. We'll talk about it. And then look
Absolutely.
how I manifested that.
Yes. But let me say this. I
All
hope
right.
those who are
So
listening out there share the information. Share this podcast, please. Thank you.
I
Okay.
say,
All
please
right. Thank
share.
you.
Yes. Thank you for reminding me of that. Please
Yes.
share, like, subscribe, and thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right,
Thank.
guys.
All
I
right.
appreciate y'all. I'm about to
All right.
close out.
All right.
Thank you. Peace. Yes. Sorry. It was very lengthy. When I first started this podcast, it was supposed to be for an hour. And for this some reason, this season it's been a little over 2 hours. I don't understand. But you know what? I see like on Drink Champs, his podcast be about 3 to 5 hours. So if I'm bringing knowledge, why should I have to cut it short? Because some people are impatient and they don't want to sit through the whole thing. If they don't want to sit through it, fine. They could just cut it off. Or you could come take a break, come back, look at it another time. But I have to move with my spirit. I have to move when how my ancestors and the Most High move through me. So y'all know what I'm going to say. How I always end the podcast. And what am I going to say? Have you done something for yourself lately? Huh? And I'm saying this for myself as well. Let me tell you something. These past few weeks has been trying. Okay? Please don't be mistaken. I don't care if it's your favorite rapper, your favorite actor, your favorite superstar, whoever, singer, actress. I do not care. We are all human beings and we are all going through something. Every single person. I don't care what somebody posts on social media. Half the time it's fake, and half the time they are doing it for self gratification to make themselves feel better about themselves, and that's fine because we all have to do what we need to do for ourselves, to heal ourselves, to make ourselves feel better within ourselves. So with that being said, these last few weeks has been trying. I've been having so many battles, but every time I get on here, I show up and show out. You would never know if I didn't tell you. And um to come on here and just to get this show going at 8 o'clock. We started a little late today because we all was having difficulty, every last one of us. And I said, people just don't understand the work that we do just to get here. We just don't come on and pop on. We have conversations, few conversations before the show, before we show up. We get points of what we gonna talk about. Should we talk about? We try to get the right topic. It's a lot of work that go in this behind the scenes, and then we all know I live right next to the airport. I could look out my window and see JFK. Um, on a good day, I could probably walk there. Um, so on a good day when I'm feeling good. So my internet is always janky, but I said no matter what, I'm still going to show up because I know there's people podcasts that have they in the studio or they have camera crews and they have editors and they got the best of everything, and I don't care. I'm going to show up as I am, and I say that to everyone else. Sometimes we won't do what's on our heart because we feel as though it has to be perfect. And I'm telling you today to show up as you are. Show up for you. Show up as you. And the reason why I say that is because you will never know who you inspire. You never know. Sometimes we always wait, including me. I'm guilty of this procrastination, and I also know I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to start that because I don't have it all together. And I told y'all before, I built a prison around perfection. No more, no more. Or I built a prison around fear that I don't have everything, so it's not going to be right, and it's not going to produce. It's going to fail, and those are just negative things that I am telling myself, birthing that. So I said that to say, I want to say thank you to everyone that supports my podcast, to everyone that is patient with me and my podcast and my guests who actually sit there and they listen, they share, like, subscribe. I want to say thank you because this would not be a podcast without you and the guests that I always have on the show. I want to say thank you all so much. Thank you to the Most High. Oh my God, I just got tears in my eyes. Thank you to the Most High. Thank you to my Ori. Thank you to my spirit. Thank you to my ancestors because I had a mission and I was scared because I used to be afraid to speak. I was afraid to speak in public. And let me tell you, when I first saw this podcast, I was fumbling. I'm more confident now. I was starting. I was going live, but wasn't really live. I don't had a whole 45 minutes. I didn't hit the live button. We got to start all over, trying to recreate that recreate that whole scene. And I had big heavy hitters on when I first started, so I'm gonna try to make sure I'm good and impress them. And it just was it was a big. I can laugh about it now, but it was a big mess. But I said it to say I had to fight through that. Those are things about myself that I had to fight through. And most of the time, we are fighting and we are conquering, and the battle is within ourselves. We are attached to the old identity of ourselves. And sometimes the ego does not want you to let that go because that's how it feeds. It feeds off of that, of your old identity, of the old pain that you was in, of the old trauma, the old construct of the way you're thinking, and it's all attached to the subconscious. That's a whole nother conversation, but I had digressed again. I got some spiritual tools sitting next to me, so I am just like fired up right now. But I'm gonna get off this. I want to say thank you again, and also do something for yourself. If it doesn't sit right within your spirit, then it's not meant for you. I don't care what it is. And once you make the decision, you have to be prepared for whatever is going to come after that. And we always remember that when you're walking on a certain path, everything is not going to be easy. When you're walking on the path of your destiny, or walking on the path to fulfill your dreams that resonate within your soul and light up your spirit, the enemy is always going to try to deter you from that. And you just steadfast and stay strong, and you just believe within yourself that you can do it. Believe within yourself, because if you got the download, that means it's yours. That's why it's called your dream. Don't let not a naysayer, don't let a negative belief, don't let nothing, not even financial, relations, anything stop you. It's always a way. It may take a little bit longer, But when it's your time, nothing can stop you. Nothing at all. I don't know why I had to say that. Maybe somebody need to hear that. Maybe somebody that's going to listen in the future or somebody that's on right now. Whatever it is that's on your heart, make sure you do it. Do something for yourself today. I say. So I have to give these disclaimers. So let's get right to it before we get up off of here. The views and opinions expressed on this show by the hosts do not necessarily state or reflect those of the channel. Furthermore, the views and opinions of the guests do not reflect those of the host and the channel. All information, content, and material of this podcast is for information purposes only and are not intended to serve as a substitute for consultation, diagnosis, and/or medical treatment of a qualified physician or healthcare provider. Likewise, all information, content, opinions, and material of this podcast are for information purposes only and are not intended to be treated as legal advice, nor as any attorney-client relationship created herein. So again, I want to say thank you. I appreciate you all. Please like, share, subscribe. And remember, do something for yourself. Um, and pay it forward. I love y'all genuinely from my heart. Thank you for the support. Peace.